All right. Yeah, Birda the dog here. And I had some people ask about her story. So I'm going to try to do the Birda the dog story here with Birda with me. You a good girl? Yeah. All right, so... Oh, man. I should have wrote this all down, but I didn't. So, a bunch of years ago, I don't know how many. How old are you, Birda? 12 or 13 or 14? I don't even remember. Doesn't matter. A bunch of years ago, I got I think it was an email out of the blue. Oh, she's gonna leave. Well, you're just gonna get me talking then. Got an email out of the blue from a kid who lived in Denmark with my host family. I used to live in Denmark. You may not know this or not, but for a year I spent a year as a youth ambassador for the Rotary International program to Denmark, exchange student. My third host family had a little boy that lived there. His name was Mark. I think he was like 8 or 9, something like that when I was there. I never had a little brother. I was the youngest of 3, so I always got beat up. So I taught him a couple lessons. He was kind of a little snot, but that's okay. That was back in the 90s, almost mid-90s. Just a little past mid-90s I was living over there. Fast forward, I don't know. How many years would that have been? 10 years later? Must have been 10 years after that. I got this email out of the blue. He was coming to America and wanted to stop by and visit for a month. He was going to do a month in New York, a month here where I live in the middle of the United States, and a month in Los Angeles. Something like that, or like 3 weeks each place. Quite a long time. And where I live, there's not a whole lot going on. So what I told him, I was like, well, you may want to schedule more time in other places. We'll have some fun while you're here, but I don't think there's not a whole month. I mean, I told him he was more than welcome to stay for a month, but it was just too long to stay here. There's way more of the United States to see. While he was here, just to make a full story, I took him up to Minneapolis. My brother lives up there, and showed him a good time up in Minneapolis, and then we got the quads and the dirt bikes and stuff, and we ripped those around here. And then I asked him, like, what else do you want to do here when you're in America? And he says, I want to shoot guns. And I was like, all right, we can shoot some guns. Like, I went to college with a kid that lived on a farm, because like the best place to shoot a gun in the Midwest is on a private piece of property. There are public ranges, but you have to deal with the public there. Anyway, so I called this kid up. He lived about an hour north of me. Said, hey, I got, told the story, whatever I just told you guys. And we went up there to shoot guns. It was fun. Actually, the kid at the time was 18. He just turned 18. He just graduated from high school. That's why he took the summer off or whatever. Anyways, we actually went to Walmart. I let him buy the ammo, and I'll never forget. He's like, I can buy ammo. I was like, dude, this is America. Yeah, you can buy ammo. So we shot all sorts of guns. He had a blast, loved it, had a lot of fun up there. But when I was up there at my buddy's farm, he said, hey, I got some dogs, some puppies. You need one. And I was like, why would I want a dog? He said, well, here's the problem. The mom was a husky, got impregnated by the farm neighbor dog. It was a lab. The mom gave birth, and then she died. And they'd been bottle feeding these puppies basically since birth. And he's like, I can't deal with it anymore. I got to get rid of these dogs. You need to take one. And at the time, she was only, I can't remember how many weeks old. Not very many weeks old. Pretty small. Like, she was from nose to ass the size of my hand. She could fit in my hand. And I said, well, here's the deal. I'll take the dog, but I'm gonna go back to where I live, and I'll take it to a vet. And if the vet says the dog's got all its working parts, I'll keep it. If not, I'm gonna drop this dog back off at your house, and you can have your broken dog. We agreed. So, got Birda, put her in the car, drove back to where I live. Hours drive. The next day, my visitor from Denmark was going to the airport an hour south of where I live, so I took the dog with me. So within the first 2 days, she drove in a car an hour to my house, an hour to the airport, an hour back. And then I took her to the vet the next day, and she checked out. The vet was furious, was like, you can't have a dog this young. She needs to be with her mom. I was like, hey, the mom is not with us, and this is my dog, and let's do this thing. Shortly thereafter, within a few weeks, I took a trip to Texas, to the south tip down in Brownsville, Donna area. Took Birda with me. She was just a little scrap. I mean, I hit all the family members along the way. I think I went to Houston, I went to Austin, and all that. Drove down, visited, came back up. She road tripped me. Within like a week or two, there was an accident down south that I had to get back down there, so I drug her back down again. I'm trying to remember how many times. It was like, I think there was like 3 things. Because I know she met Bill. That was the guy that I went down to visit, Bill and Marjorie. Bill was still alive. Bill fell and hurt himself. And then Bill died. And then Marjorie had an accident. So like my dog had road tripped like, good Lord, so many thousands of miles in the first, like, I don't know how many months of her life, 3 months of her life or something. It was insane. So she's super pro at road tripping. Birda, come here. You need to get in this video. Come here. Come here. Good girl. Hey, give me that look. Anyways, so that's how I got my dog. Birda the dog. Another funny part of that story was, I guess I had the heads up about the dog before he went up. So we were at dinner that night, the night before I went up to shoot the guns. And I told my dad and my mom that I might be getting a dog. And my dad was like, no. And I was like, no. Well, I don't remember asking you if you're going to give me permission because I don't live at home. I'm a full-grown man. He's like, don't do it. And I was like, don't do it. No, I'm going to check him out, whatever. And I brought this puppy back, and we went straight to my parents' house, and I brought this dog in, and it was the smallest little dog, and I just like handed it off to my dad, and he was just like, meh! He was just mad. That lasted about 2 seconds, and now my dog and my dad are like best friends. Come here, bird. Come here. Hey, we're talking about you. You're Birda. Hey. And then so they're like, how'd you come up with the name of Birda? Well, I have an imaginary rule. Hey, it's my bird. An imaginary rule that whatever color my pet is, you take the first letter of that color. Birda is a technically brown dog, if you don't know that. She's not black, she's brown. You take the first letter, so B for brown, and you have to come up with a name that starts with that letter, B. So I went through all the B names I could think of and finally came up with Birda. I don't even know how I did it. Birda. My cat, Gary, he's gray. Gary's gray. My other cat, Boston, she was black. So, yeah, Birda the dog. What else we got? What's else about you, Birda? There's more to that story. What else is there? Oh, so my buddy, I don't want to say his name. One of my buddies from like middle school, he got her sister. I named her Raven. I think Raven might be getting... Hey, you nibbling on those green beans. They're not ready yet. They're sweet peas. But Raven's having some health problems, which is unfortunate. But, I mean, the dogs are getting old, so that's what happens. Birda, is there more to your story? What else is there? I think there's more to it. I mean, by 6 months, I had her on hand visual commands. So, like, sit, stay, down, shake, knuckle bump. I had a bunch of them. It was crazy. I had it on video. No, I didn't have to say the word. She knew the visual commands. I know I get a lot of comments on my videos that like people are like, oh, dogs can't understand. Dude, my dog literally understands exactly what I'm saying in full sentences too. And she communicates just about as good with just her eyes and her mannerisms. Like, I'm pretty convinced that most animals are communicating effectively with their friends, and we're just pretty stupid and can't figure it out. But she's pretty good at figuring everything out. I mean, I one time counted all the words she knew, and I think it was like, I'm not even going to say, but a ton. She knows a ton of words, maybe 40 to 50 individual words she knows the meaning of. Like, it's crazy. A lot of them are in the car. She knows a lot of car commands, like braking, stopping, turning. Like, she braces up. When I say those words, she knows exactly what it is. And there's a bunch of stuff. That's not what I'm here to talk about. Just the Birda story. I'm trying to think if it seemed like there was something else to it. Got the name. Oh, someone asked about baths. Yeah, my dog's had literally 3 baths her entire life. The first bath was the #1 mistake I made. She rolled in her own crap. And me being an idiot, I decided I would just hose her off with the hose and clean her. Well, there's a window of time in a dog's life when they're young where they can be traumatized for life. And I hosed my dog in that window. I think it's like 8 to 10 weeks or something like that. She was small. Well, from that point forward, terrified of hoses. Because I just like put her on a leash, tied her up, and I was like, I can't remember. I was having a bad day, and like, I did it wrong. I wish I didn't do that. I would take it back if I could, but I did. So she's terrified of water. Like to the point, like you can point a beer bottle, a glass bottle of beer, and the circle at the end, she's scared of that. Second bath she got fleas once, so I gave her a soap bath. She did not like that. That was a bath in a bathtub. And then the third bath in her entire life was, I think, last year when she rolled in the rotten turkey eggs. So yeah, in all those years, she's had 3 baths. And the first one was one that traumatized. She didn't like water. Like, my brother's got a swimming pool, and we had her down there one year, and she wouldn't. She's a lab. She's supposed to like live water. Like that's her thing. Like water, water, water. She's terrified of it, and it's all my fault. I mean, that's the one mistake I made with her, was the hose job. Well, let's try to think of something else. I mean, we're past 10 minutes. I'll go for a little bit longer. The other question people have for me is, why is she always on a leash? Well, the town I live in has laws that if my dog scratches you and it breaks your skin, she has to be put down. It doesn't matter why she scratched your skin or what. It doesn't matter if you're in my yard illegally. If my dog scratches your skin with a claw or anything, she has to be put down. So I don't play games with that. I know some people are like, oh, dude, train your dog. It's like, no. They had a deal where like a town council member here, where after they passed that ordinance, their dog scratched somebody and it had to be put down, and like someone literally like broke the dog out of dog jail. It was like the most ridiculous thing. Like, it was basically, I made this rule, I'm a counselor, a town councilman or whatever, but my dog's going to be killed and I don't want my dog to be killed. So like they faked a breakout of it. Like it was the stupidest shit ever. But yeah, that's the laws in my town, which are completely ridiculous. So I think that particular dog was like tied in its yard on a leash, and a kid came in the yard and got scratched by its claw, and they said you had to put it down. Which is crazy. My uncle had to have a dog put down because it scratched somebody. I think it's ridiculous, and there's like no. All you have to do is have the broken skin, and that's the end of your dog, no matter what. Unless you're a cop dog. If you're a cop dog, you can do whatever you want, but that's a different story. So, 12 minutes. Hopefully that answers the story of Birda the dog, and how I got her. I should have taken notes, but I didn't, so that's about all. Peace out.